Nations, and we are continuing our series on I versus we, repairing the nation. I'm happy to introduce Ashley Scott, realtor and co-founder of the Georgia Freedom Initiative. Ms. Scott and her two other founders have acquired 500 acres of land in Georgia, and they'd like to collaborate with like-minded investors to provide a safe haven for African Americans. Their hope is to build a full eco-friendly village with homes, shops, hotels, and more. And so we're very excited to have Ashley tell us about her program and what they're offering.
Yes, so thank you so much. I appreciate that. And that is what Freedom Georgia is all about. We are a group of 19 Black families that came together in June of 2020 in order to buy our originally 97 acres of land. And we've now acquired over 502 acres of land to be able to give other people the opportunity to share this dream with us of creating a more sustainable community and to practice self-determination. So let's go ahead and get started. Just for those of you who might not have seen the earlier presentation that I did a few weeks ago, Freedom Georgia, we are LLC at its core, known as FGI 2020 LLC. And we're a certified minority-owned, women-owned, veteran-managed limited liability company, but we also have containers. We have a nonprofit organization that we've also established, along with a research institute known as the Freedom Institute for Innovation and Culture. And we have our Freedom Farm Company, which is a cooperative that is actually being started now. So we're really excited to talk about the Freedom Farm Company today. The overall mission of the Freedom Georgia is to create a thriving community for our Black farmers, our veterans, and our elders that is centered around the natural beauty of Wilkinson County's landscape and the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals of 2030. For those of you who are not familiar with the Sustainable Development Goals, they're on my screen now, but they're no poverty, zero hunger. My screen is so small I can barely read them. Along with good health and well-being. And so we are literally orchestrating our farming practices as well as our community around these 17 Sustainable Development Goals that also include sustainable city and development. And that is what we're building, a sustainable city. On our land, we like to acknowledge the city that we're building on this land. This isn't our land. And we acknowledge that all of us here in America live and work on stolen land, as is the case of Freedom Georgia, where our physical footprint is on land of the Hatichi and Muskogee, known as the Muskogee Creek Nation. And we honor all of the indigenous nations and their land with enormous gratitude and acknowledge that the genocide and continuous displacement of indigenous people. We also acknowledge the enslaved Africans and exploited, incarcerated Black and brown workers whose labor built and continues to build our country. We acknowledge the harm inflicted upon BIPOC communities across the country in the context of housing, land, development, and labor, which drives our ongoing work. So here's our land, and this is what we're farming and building the city on, you guys. We got, again, 502 acres of Black-owned land, which we have recently subdivided. It went from being, we did 78 acres. We subdivided the 404 acres that you see on the left side of the screen into one large parcel that we still retain the ownership of. But we have 78 acres that we subdivided into 13 6-acre parcels. Let's see, it looks like my technology is being funny on me. Let's see if it loads up here. Looks like my images are not loading, I'm sorry. Okay, well, if this image were to load, you would see 78 acres divided into 6-acre plots that are going to be used for farmsteads and co-ops. We are super excited about the Freedom Farm community. And what we'll be doing first and foremost is farming cattle, and we'll be building out containers for vertical farming, which will include mushrooms such as lion's mane and I don't want to call it the wrong thing, but I believe it's tiger tail. I might be making that up. But we are in the process of building the farming cooperative as a way to create streams of income and agribusiness for the community. And the great thing about the Freedom Farming Cooperative is that our members do not have to live in freedom to be a part of it. And that's an opportunity that each of you will have today, is to become a part of our farming co-op. And that is going to allow you to share in the food that we grow and the dividends, depending on which level you decide to buy in at. And so I will be giving you all my contact information so that you can connect with me. One of the things that I will tell you about our project is that we're very strategic about who we bring into all of our businesses and our community. And so you will want to spend some time speaking with me. There will be an interview process for who we do bring into our farming co-op. But again, you can be anywhere in the world and be a part of this co-op with us. So we're really excited about that. The starting price will be $550, and you will be able to have shares in not only the food that we grow, but some of the profits that we make from our agribusiness. There's also another opportunity to partner with us. We will be building the very first Airbnbs in Freedom. One of the things that we're really excited about is ecotourism and agritourism. People are learning about farming skills every day and want a chance to not only practice those skills and learn those skills, but to be in communities and see how they are functioned and governed, right? And so we're excited that people have been following the Freedom Georgia initiative in our movement since 2020, and they are chomping at the bit to be able to spend time in Freedom Georgia. And so our Airbnbs are going to be the very first things that we build in Freedom. And we're very excited to announce that we will be building those buildings out of hempcrete. Hempcrete has just recently been approved with the International Building Code as a product that can be used with stick and frame as well as steel rebar. And so we will be building probably some of the first first Airbnbs in America with hempcrete. And so you will have an opportunity to invest in being an Airbnb owner with us in those first Airbnbs. And there is a buy-in of $8,550 to participate. We have only room for 100 people to be a part of that opportunity. It is a limited partnership within the Airbnb business, which is again an LLC. And then you will get dividends. We will be starting off with quarterly dividends being delivered starting in October of 2023. Once we have all of the buildings in place, it's going to take some time to build with hempcrete and get things approved, which is why it will take some time to get your dividends to start rolling back in. But it'll be a really awesome long-term profit share that you'll get to enjoy with that one-time investment. So I'm not going to hold you too much longer. I would love to answer any questions that people might have. The future of Freedom is on your screen. If you can see it, we plan to grow into a place that doesn't just have our farm, but that also has commerce and manufacturing. We are looking forward to having some hemp being grown on the property and getting our decordicators so that we can process the hemp. We'll also be taking the advice of some of our seasoned sisters and doing bamboo and being able to process bamboo through those same decordicators. So we're really excited. The opportunities are endless, and being able to be an owner in this is what this cooperative movement is all about. We can all generate wealth together, and when we all put in a little something, we can build our businesses faster. And so I look forward to having some of you be a part of our Freedom Farm Cooperative, and some of you please consider being a part of our Freedom Rural Development Group, which is an opportunity to get dividends from our first Airbnbs. So if you have any questions, please feel free. And thank you for your time. Am I even on here? I hate Zoom sometimes. Hello? You all hear me? Stop the share.
Yes. I'm unmuting it, or I'm allowing everyone to unmute themselves if they'd like to participate. So that's now an option. So you're welcome, everyone, to put stuff in the chat. People have already been sending lots of stuff your way, Ashley. But if you'd like to unmute, you're also welcome to and ask away.
Well, yes, please don't be shy. Raise your hand and let's go ahead, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that folks have. I do apologize. I know some people were saying the screen was too small. Unfortunately, I'm on my mobile. I just left the Ready Expo where we just had a wonderful time talking about how to survive and thrive together. So
Miss Scott,
that's my apologies.
I have a question. First, I want to say I'm so happy for you. That is awesome. Like,
thank you.
The magnitude of what you can accomplish, the potentiality there is very exciting, even just for someone on the outside looking in. I do want to ask a question about, or no, was it a question? No, I was going to ask you, have you heard of worldwide organic farming, or WOOF?
I have not heard of worldwide organic farming. Please tell me more.
I would urge you to look that up. It's basically, it could serve as a good example for a business model for you concerning the travel agricultural learning. They are pretty much like a home away educational site for people who want to go to other places all over the world and partake in other people's agricultural experiences.
Thank you for that, Jim. And I know that will be helpful for others. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. My second question is, how do you feel about bartering in trade? And is there something built into your model to facilitate that?
So we love barter and trade, but we do not have something that is specifically built in our model to facilitate that today. That does not mean that we won't. Some of the things that we have really been focused on are time banking as a model, so that people in our community can volunteer at different places and have an earned income based off of them going into different areas. And that way no one has like essentially a job that's more important than anybody, and anybody can try different things, because some of us are multifaceted, right? And so you should be able to get in where you fit in any day of the week and earn an income because you're adding value to the community. And then the second aspect that we're really excited about is our own cryptocurrency, and working with WAPcoin. Ms. Tavania Evans, who is the only Black woman founder of a cryptocurrency that we know of. WAPcoin has some utility opportunities where we could potentially barter and be paid in WAPcoin, and then use that WAPcoin, which will provide discounts on some of the products and services that people have in our community. So essentially, you could get paid in WAPcoin and then use that WAPcoin to make essential purchases within the community at a lower rate than it would be if you were paying in traditional USD or cash. So that's all we got for now, but the options are endless.
I love it. I love it. I direct messaged you my email because I currently have an app built out that I think will help you a lot, and I would love to allow your operation to use it for the free.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm driving. So what I will do is have I'm going to have my friend here, Brill, who's in the passenger seat, to text my email back so that you can get my contact information. And everybody can have it. It's ashleyscott@kw.com. Email is the quickest and fastest way to get to me. And that way we can exchange information and continue the conversation, okay?
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm wondering, Ashley, are we going to have?
I'm good. How are you today?
Hi, this is Laura. I'm in Oakland, California, and I'm wondering, since we could not read the slides, is it possible that you could share them with Prepared and then we can get it? Because I'd love to see what was on there.
Yes, I'd be happy to share that with Prepared Nation. So I will get that
really
over
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And where in Georgia are you on? What are you near?
So we are out the way, and that is for a very purposeful reason. But we're 2 hours south of Atlanta, 40 minutes south of Macon. We're in an area known as Wilkinson County, Toomsboro, Georgia, and it's right by the Oconee River. And it is central Georgia. I mean, you can get to any major city in Georgia within 3 hours, including Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Y'all got any more questions? Because I got answers. I promise you that.
I was hoping you could repeat your contact information, please.
Yes, my name is Ashley Scott, and the email address is ASHLEY Scott, SCOTT, @kw.com. So Ashley Scott @kw.com. I'm a real estate agent by trade. And so that is my Keller Williams email address, and that is the very best way to get in contact with me. And you can also follow me on Instagram @Ashley Scott KW. And if you DM me, that's also a great way to get in connected with me. And I can shoot you my calendar. I do free 20-minute consultations. And I also have a class on how to buy land together, because I definitely want people to really see the opportunities in buying land with your friends, with your family, the same way that we did. Cooperatives are truly the way of the future, and land is the most essential thing. So please consider buying my course, Buying Land Together, at www.thinkific.com.
Ms. Scott, can I just say something that may be of interest? So I've looked at land, and I'm much about farming and being out in the woods. But as you mentioned, ecotourism, there's a class of people that really want to go out in the woods to look actually at birds. So if you're looking at ecotourism involving someone in your area, this is a local person, this is not me, that knows the lay of the land, but also knows the animals that are in the land. You can like literally encourage people. I mean, they might not be into the dirt, but they may be into the animals that are around them and finding them or seeing them together.
Well, absolutely. What I will say is we have what's known as bob white quail on our land, which is a species of quail that's protected here in Georgia. And so that there are opportunities with that in creating habitat for birds, and like you said, that ecotourism, when people who love bird watching and that kind of thing know that they have the space and ability to do that on our property. And there are all kinds of birds. It's beautiful. So thank you for sharing that. And another aspect that I will share around ecotourism is that you don't need to buy and just start grading it, turning everything into flat land. I know we as farmers love flat land. I get it. but there's some benefits to having different elevations and topographies on your property, and that having those that biodiversity and the ability to attract different animals is one of those things. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. I guess maybe I'll link with you on Instagram, because there are Black permaculture people that I know that may be good for you to know as well, but also just the I'm into a foraging community. So in the foraging community, there's quite a bit of need for land that's not cultivated.
Yes, and so I thank you for that too. So on our property, we have mullein. We just had I did do a Ready Expo today, and we talked about that in one of the workshops. Mullein is one of the best medicinal herbs for respiratory out there, and uncultivated, undisturbed land usually has tons of great medicinal herbs all throughout it, and foraging is something that can absolutely be done on our property. I would love to talk with you about scheduling a tour, a retreat, camp outs, events around that to bring the forager community to our property. They're going to love it.
Thank you. I will.
Ashley, can you share your Instagram again?
Yes.
What is it?
It's Ashley Scott KW. It's at Ashley Scott KW. So ASHLEY SCOTT KW.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know we're getting towards the end of and let me know if this is something you like teach in your class, but it seems like you've been able to like find the secret recipe to getting families and people to work together and like do some really ambitious stuff. And I mean, I'm just amazed by everything. Could you share maybe a secret to how you all have gone so far so fast?
Well, the main secret is to be comfortable with the uncomfortable and tell yourself that it's all okay, because there's going to be so many challenges. And if you expect that there will be no challenges, you're going to drop the ball and throw in the bucket and throw in the towel or kick the bucket when things get challenging. So expect it to be uncomfortable and get comfortable with being uncomfortable and being as transparent as possible with the people in your community. Communication is key, and communication can be uncomfortable. So be okay with being uncomfortable so that you can continue to move through it. You're going to complain, people are going to criticize, you're going to have a devil's advocate, you're going to have the person who's the pessimist, and we have to embrace the diversity of all of those aspects and include them. Even when we are talking as melanated people and people who are indigenous, people of color, we often think that, you know, we know that there's diversity in our culture, right? But we have to practice the same diversity and inclusion that we expect other cultures to honor us with, correct? So I want you to always think that the secret sauce really is knowing that everything works together for the good. It's all going to be okay. Count it all joy, because it's a part of the process. And as long as you are all committed to going through the process and letting democracy rule. Some people are into this consensus building thing. I don't really necessarily believe in consensus building, because it means trying to get everybody to the point where they all agree. And that's really impossible. And I think that's why projects can stall out. The people who are not necessarily getting their way when democracy rules definitely still have a part to play and a voice in the conversation. But when you're doing something in community, it has to be what's best for the majority, even if the minority don't necessarily agree. They still got to participate. So the secret sauce is everybody participates even when they're not happy, because it's all going to work out and it's all going to be okay. Does that help?
Yeah, I was letting it wash over me. Everything's gonna be
Yeah,
okay.
everything's gonna be okay. People are gonna people, and life is gonna life, and you can't have it your way. But what you can do, in even in development, real estate development, we have a contingency fund. So we know that stuff is going to break. We know that there's going to be deadlines that get extended. And so you have to build in those contingencies. You build in, those consequences of what happens when people don't do what they committed to doing, and know that it's going to all be okay. People might get mad, but eventually they don't stay that way. And people who are the leaders today might not be the leaders tomorrow, and that's okay. It's all going to be okay. The good thing about this life, we all get to make the rules. Believe it or not, America actually gives us the opportunity to make our own rules when we create our bylaws, when we create our articles of operation or our articles of incorporation, when we write our operating agreements, when we create our standard operating procedures. We get to make this up. We get to all agree on it together, or rather, we get to vote on it together, and democracy rules. And we can always change things. You can amend all of these documents with a 2/3 vote, or it could be with 5 people's vote, because you get to make the rules. It all will work out. And so keep people first, and remember that people are going to people. And if we're people centered, we can have empathy, we can have compassion, we can have grace, because those are the true secret sauces: empathy, compassion, and grace. Well, all right. If there aren't any other questions, I want to thank you. And I really hope that you all will get in touch with me. Email me again at Ashley Scott, KW, Ashley Scott at KW.com. Instagram is Ashley Scott, KW. And please support a sister and buy my course. It is buyingland.thinkific. It's $97, and it's jam packed with information, resources, links to other organizations and groups, people, and places where you can get more information and community. So please, please, please connect with me in one of those ways. Thank you.
Thank you again, Ashley.